Good evening, and welcome to That Guy Riffs. Today we'll be looking at a short called Boys Beware, an anti-gay film that deals with how the 1950s was anti-gay. Enjoy. Yes.
Poor Syd Davis. He only produced 2 films, The Seventh Seal and this. The real dangerous book for boys! Throw some of the best darn cross burnings this side of the South. Okay, you scrolling down? You just gonna stay there? Okay, that's fine. You moving up? Okay, you had your chance.
Danny, I thought I shot you.
Nope, I survived.
Oh, okay then.
This man may seem like an everyday man, when really, in fact, he is. Sorry, we'll try to bring you something juicier next week. Talk about silent running, I couldn't even hear the door slam.
I'm Lieutenant Williams.
Hi, Lieutenant
Police
Williams.
officer attached to the Juvenile Division. I'm on my way to Monroe Junior High School to talk to a group of young people.
That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
That looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Lots of young people hitchhike. Seems like a good way to get from one place to another.
It does?
But sometimes there are dangers involved that never meet the eye.
Dangers that lie in the Twilight Zone.
Let's take the case of Jimmy Barnes.
No.
Jimmy played baseball all afternoon, and he didn't feel like walking home, so he decided to thumb a ride.
But that's not the only thing he's going to thumb. If you got that, then you're gay.
Ah, yes. This is before the invention of parenting.
He'd done it 100 times before, and he didn't think anything was unusual when the driver struck up a friendly conversation. In fact, he seemed like a real nice guy. He asked Jimmy if he played baseball in the park often. Jimmy told him they practiced 3 times a week and played a rival group on Friday afternoon.
He then asked if he liked gladiator movies.
Or two, and it only seemed minutes before they pulled up in front of Jimmy's house.
Where Jimmy's 2 fathers were waiting.
When Jimmy got out, the stranger gave him a friendly pat.
I won't say where, though. Again, if you got that, you're gay.
Then he told him he'd see him again, as he always drove by the park on his way home.
I love watching your ass when you walk. Is that beautiful or what?
Jimmy spent many an afternoon confusingly throwing a glove around wishing he had friends.
Sure enough, the following day, when Jimmy finished playing ball, well, the man was there waiting.
Hot damn, I've never been in a convertible before. Really? Well, I guess you're about ready then, aren't you?
Let it be known that gay men have a horrible tendency of remaining fabulous.
They stopped at a drive-in, and the stranger treated him to a Coke. During their conversation, he told several off-color jokes, but Jimmy had heard others before, and well, it made him feel big to so easily win the confidence of an older person.
You hear the one about the black Jewish female Polak who wasn't a human being?
It's the 1950s. That's every joke I hear.
Yes, little do you know that gays and pedophiles are the exact same thing.
The following Saturday, they went fishing together. By now, they were using first names. Ralph said it was more friendly.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Gaylord.
Please, call me Flaming.
You like popsicles?
Jimmy hadn't enjoyed himself so much in a long time.
Little did he know that the best was yet to come.
Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures.
Whoa!
Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick. A sickness that was not visible like smallpox.
Or dark
but
skin.
no less dangerous and contagious. A sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual. A person who demands an intimate relationship with members of their own sex.
We can't stop here. This is backcountry.
But by now, Jimmy felt a fondness for Ralph, and they continued to go places together. Ralph was generous and took Jimmy many interesting places and did many nice things for him.
He took him to the most horrible hangouts, like the manicures and Mamma Mia.
He bought presents and even gave him money. But payments were expected in return.
Oh boy.
You see, Jimmy hadn't recognized Ralph's approach soon enough. When Ralph first asked Jimmy to go fishing alone, He should have discussed it with his parents or teacher.
Ralph now uses his telepathic gay powers to keep Jimmy from leaving.
Finally, Jimmy told his parents, and they reported it to the juvenile authorities. Ralph was arrested, and Jimmy was released on probation in the custody of his parents.
Don't worry, we'll wash the gay out of you.
But all homosexuals are not passive. Some resort to violence, as in the case of Mike Merritt.
Mike Merritt, the very name invites douchebaggery.
In the heat of competition, no one noticed the man who sat and watched.
I think that's the coach.
And when the game broke up and the others left, Mike decided to stay and practice a little longer.
Wait, is Mike the kid or the predator? Be more specific, movie. I can't judge both of them unfairly.
The stranger joined him. He was friendly and, well, it was better than playing alone.
He just got done eating kittens and rubbing himself in chicken blood.
But after a few shots, Mike realized he had already overstayed his time and suggested he better leave. The stranger told him if he'd like to stay longer, he'd be glad to drive him home when they finished. Sounded great to Mike. Chance to play longer and get a ride home, too.
Of course, he had no idea that Chris Hansen's Dateline special was just a phone call away. I play in my talks because I went to the Tommy Wiseau School of Sports.
Didn't Sonic Says tell me something about this?
When they finished, the stranger told him he'd make a fine player someday if he got lots of practice.
Despite his
The
whiteness.
companionship, the praise, the friendly attitude dispelled any misgivings Mike might have had about going with a stranger. He probably never realized until too late that he was riding in the shadow of death.
Odd name for a car.
But sometime that evening, Mike Merritt traded his life for a newspaper headline.
Newsflash, gays, pedophiles, and the devil are all the same.
As Denny and Jerry got the papers ready for Jerry's afternoon delivery, they only casually noticed the two boys that raced by in the afternoon traffic,
Huh, well that's casual.
and they didn't pay much attention to the car that drew up shortly afterwards until the man called them over.
Why would he call them that?
Either of you ever been in a Turkish prison?
Had two boys been by on bicycles? The boys nodded they had. Could they recognize them if they saw them again? Well, then he guessed he could. Then hop in, the man said. Those are stolen bikes.
Dumbass.
Jerry watched. He'd been told many times, if a friend got in a car with a stranger, to write down the license number.
Or tell him not to get in the
Didn't seem to
car.
apply, but, well, fortunately, he marked it down.
Jerry knew something was wrong when Denny called the next day and said he wanted to go floral shopping and watch Gilmore Girls.
When he delivered a paper to Denny's house, he asked his mother if they'd caught the boys that had stolen the bicycles.
What the fuck are you talking
Denny
about?
hadn't returned, so he told her the story and gave her the paper with the license number.
Well, why didn't he hitchhike like usual? That's the safer method.
Being a careful parent, she decided to call the police. Jerry supplied the necessary information, and the stranger's car was quickly spotted. It was a good example of how important it is to always get the license number and description of any stranger who takes a young person off alone, no matter what they tell you.
Good thing he happened to be driving into that dead end for no apparent reason. Yeah, I can see why they deleted this from Leave It to Beaver.
Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual.
There's a good start of a story.
They hadn't noticed the man who had been in the restroom when they changed.
Beware,
The
boys,
lady
beware!
suggested they take the shortcut under the pier, but the others preferred to take the more traveled way home.
Well, it's better than waiting for that kid from MySpace.
Always keep in mind, the homosexual's feet often have musical accompaniment.
I can hear your musically bulbous footsteps.
When Bobby recognized the stranger as the man in the restroom, the shortcut under the pier didn't seem like a good idea at all.
I'm gonna take the shortcut through the venomous snake pit.
I'll get you next time, Bobby. Next time.
After all, it's more fun to stay with your friends anyway. Bobby had made a wise decision. It may have saved his life.
And even better, kept him straight.
The decision is always yours.
Hetero or
Your
hell?
whole future may depend on making the right one. So no matter where you meet a stranger, be careful if they are too friendly. If they try to win your confidence too quickly, and if they become overly personal. One never knows when the homosexual is about.
Yikes.
He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill.
Wow.
So keep with your group, and don't go off alone with strangers unless you have the permission of your parent or teacher.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to whip myself for thinking about an episode of Bosom Buddies. Remember, prejudice is wrong unless it's against the right people. You should never question authority, paranoia is your friend, and anything different is evil! Good night, and enjoy fearing this world, though you'll never understand why!